Hello, welcome to another edition of Two Geeks Discuss.
Hello.
Hello. With me as always is Dan.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good, yeah, I'm alright.
Good.
Yeah.
We hope you lovely listeners are well.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Statistically, not all of you will be, but we hope you genuinely are. If you listen to this in hospital, then we hope we can bring some joy to you.
I went to a really dark place. I just went to a dark place. But yeah, this is an episode we did on
Is the Emperor incompetent?
Is the Emperor incompetent? Does he really care about his Primarchs?
Yeah.
Are they there to be killed off at the end? Who knows?
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll enjoy what we discussed. I certainly enjoyed this one. I thought it was very good.
They're all good though.
They are all good, let's be honest. It's quality gold coming through all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
well, apparently not statistically. At least one of these is going to be depressed.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Yeah.
Well, we know the statistics of how many people are ill, probably. We don't yet know the statistics of how many of these are good episodes or not. So we'll see. We'll see if this one's any good. What episode is this?
This will be episode... I think this is the third one we recorded.
Third, okay, so episode 3. So enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of this podcast. Still unnamed. We do apologise for that.
Well, I mean, when we put them out...
Well, yeah, I was about to say, by the time it goes out, obviously...
So let's not apologise to them. They don't deserve it.
Let's not apologise to our loyal fans.
Yeah.
Well,
a loyal fan.
Yeah, thanks, Mum.
Yeah.
But today we are going to be talking about a kind of... it's probably a specific part of the Horus Heresy, I suppose. But as we said in our first episode about the Horus Heresy, that was a very general one, and we did want to go into specific kind of parts of it later on. And so we're going to be looking at the burning of Prospero today, and introducing the Emperor into the situation as well. And we're offering the question of, is the Emperor good or bad?
Well, lots of questions about the Emperor, I think. So we're talking about, we wanted to do a podcast about the Emperor and about the Primarchs and their relationship, and we think that the burning of Prospero, I think, is a great... Like, you can draw a lot out of the burning of Prospero as to the attitude of the Emperor towards the Primarchs. So we thought it would be a good topic to...
Yeah.
So if you want to...
Plus, I also think it's one of the best parts of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, and so it's based... If you want to go and read the books, this 1,000 Suns... And then
Prospero Burns.
But
honestly, I didn't think that was that great.
Which one?
Prospero Burns. 1,000 Suns is amazing.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know.
And because it's the double whammy, because you understand about the 1,000 Suns, which is great, and I think they're a really interesting legion. And obviously Magnus is really cool as well, and quite a popular Primarch, I think. I think that's fair to say. But I think it's all the action of the actual burning of Prospero, and the attack and the Battle of Tisca is all in that book. Whereas with a title like Prospero Burns, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be an amazing book. You're going to see it from the Space Force point of view, who I kind of tend to go to anyway. Yeah. Just because I think I prefer the Space Wolves over the 1,000 Suns. I have understanding and pity for them, but I think I tend to be more... Because I'm loyalist and they're loyalist and that kind of stuff.
Vilki Fenrica.
Exactly.
Vilki Fenrica. Well, don't call them Space Wolves to the face. They do not like it.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Do not like it.
But I think... Sorry, just kind of go back to that. I think it's the element of coming to that book and expecting it to be really good, great title, about Space Wolves, it's going to be amazing. The front cover is them on Prospero as well, and then it's like almost 3/4 of the book is not actually anything to do with Prospero. It's them just learning about the Space Wolves, which is nice, but with a title like that, you go, right, so this is all going to be about Prospero, and then it's like, nope, it's the last kind of 3 or 4.
That's true. I think so. If you want to know about what happened at Prospero, then Thousand Suns is what you need to read.
Which is an amazing book.
It is. It's very good. I did like Prospero Burns. Oh, Thousand Suns. So we start with Thousand Suns, and then that tells you all kind of a lot of the stuff. And then Prospero Burns,
how to make wine. If you're certain Astartes as well.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a bit in it where in Prospero Burns where the Astartes' metabolism is so good that they can't get drunk on normal alcohol. So so the Space Wolves make their own version so they can get drunk.
Yeah, which funnily enough sounds a lot like mead.
Yeah. It's almost as if someone's been watching the TV show Vikings. I want it to be like that.
Yeah. But we can't really say the 40K's stolen anything from history, can you really?
No, all original.
Yeah, all original stuff.
Yeah. And so but I Prospero Burns it was interesting because I finished Thousand Suns and despised the Emperor and despised the Space Wolves.
Shocker.
But no, you'd be surprised. And I came out of Prospero Burns having some sympathy for the Thousand Suns. Space Wolves, and really thinking, but thinking that the Emperor's pretty incompetent when it comes to his Primarchs. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And it comes down to this: are they the sons of the Primarchs? Should they be treated like sons, like family, or are they just biological weapons? And just is the Emperor's issue that he just treats them like biological weapons rather than sons?
Well, I think probably we need to start at the Council of Nicaea, really, because I think that's where the seeds of Prospero were really born.
Yeah.
Because actually, obviously, the backstory about Prospero and the reason why the Space Wolves go there in the first place is because Magnus has broken the edicts of Nicaea, which is
not at all ripped off from Nicaea.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate. Don't know what you're talking about.
Which is when Constantine became kind of legalized Christianity and turned it into an army rather than a radical
a state religion as opposed to just a radical sect.
Yeah, and radical in the a good way of talking about radical. Just for
Anyway,
that's
putting the rad in radical.
Yeah, that's it. That's by the by.
Yeah, but anyway, I think kind of him doing that obviously leads to the fact that it's the double whammy, isn't it? Again, because it's one, they've broken it, but the way he breaks it, which is to tell the Emperor what's going on with Horus in the warp, because that's at the same time, isn't it, when he's in the warp, Magnus that is, and he's kind of going, oh, something's wrong. Oh, I see Horus there. Has this whole kind of, look, they're leading you astray. Don't go down whatever route they're taking you. Actually, no, I can see that this is going to happen, so I need to go tell my father.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do... But he doesn't obviously realise he's under the influence of... Zeech, is it? How do you say?
Good question. Zeech, Nietzsche. I've heard it said loads of different
Change
ways.
Your Ways, that one.
Yeah.
The guy with the big bird.
Yeah.
And
write in and tell us how you think it's pronounced.
Exactly.
I'm never known.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But obviously it's under his kind of... Well, spell's the wrong word, but, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? And then as a result, breaks in through the webway and smashes the webway portal bit to just complete and utter smithereens.
Well, he's been, that's the kind of top and bottom of it, and he is being manipulated by the warp. That's true.
But this is what annoys me about this, because you just think, you're supposed to be the most amazing mind of all the Primarchs in terms of getting knowledge and understanding things and just... Not the terra firma is the wrong word, but that's the thing that comes to mind of just the grounding of what the warp is and how it works.
Yeah, but he has a huge blind spot. That's his.
Is that because he's only got one eye?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Literally got a blind spot.
Can't turn left. Why? Don't ask.
Yeah, that's it.
Because doesn't he give his first eye anyway because of the mutations?
Happening
in Thousand Suns.
I'm sure it's some. Maybe do you know what? I can't remember that bit. I can't remember why. I remember.
Yeah,
kind of
I feel like that's it. I may be wrong, and if you're listening, please do.
It's almost like we should have reread the books before doing this podcast.
It's almost like we should know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, Adam's read them very recently.
That's true.
And I read them. I don't know,
yeah, but I've also got a better memory than you have, which is true.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, you barely remember my own name, so
yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Still don't know where You told me. I think maybe it was on the other podcast. You told me where you were born. I can't remember that again.
Yeah, I'm from Lancashire.
Lancashire,
but I grew up in Lincoln.
Oh, yeah, Lancashire. That was it. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'd forgotten that.
That's all right.
And you always told me what university you went to, but I forgot that.
University of Westminster.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I always thought it was one of those US universities.
Regent Street campus.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I always thought it was one of those US universities, which would give a degree to your cat if you ask them nicely. But no, Westminster.
That's a very good university. Thank you very much.
No. Westminster is. I just had you pegged as a US email graduate.
I'm not going to swear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think bringing it back to the burning Prospero, I think that's the reason why he stops the mutations. And that's why he loses his eye. But it's just that's the annoying thing for me. It's you kind of go, how can you be so dumb to be completely manipulated by this? Yeah. But then it's the whole thing of him. The hubris is I can understand everything.
Yeah.
When actually he doesn't. He really doesn't, and he pays the price for that.
Yeah. I played a game of Mafia once, and one of my best mates, Bob, completely.
Don't know how this has to do with anything to do with Prospero.
He was on the Mafia side. And I was a villager,
right?
And I was so convinced he wasn't the Mafia, and I just fought his corner.
You know what that's called? It's called trust, mate.
Yeah, but he just completely manipulated me because I just had this blind spot. Because I was so annoyed. I still remember I was annoyed that kind of the person who I've known, of my friends the longest. It completely fooled me, and I think.
However,
that's
it's not
that
like
niche reference. That's what happened to Magnus.
Yeah. It's not really like Magnus and Lehman Russ are best mates.
No. But I think Magnus was too close to the warp, and he thought he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. In that respect, yeah.
And so he had this big blind spot, and that was his failing. That was Magnus's failing. But I think there was failings all around.
Yeah. Well, because you will probably know this better than me, but I was hearing things about. Because I don't think I've read it yet, but where Horus basically manipulates Lehman Russ into saying, "Oh yeah, of course Magnus has done all these things," and that's when he decides, "Yeah, I'm going to go and basically teach him a lesson."
Oh yeah, that's because
do you know what I mean? Like it's Horus who manipulates Lehman Russ, and then obviously with the change of ways, you've got that manipulation going on as well.
So basically, Horus's plan was to have the Space Wolves fight Thousand Suns. And then they'll just destroy each other or weaken them to the point where neither of them are a threat.
Yeah, but I think also it's the fact that because of that, and because he sends Russ, and he knows that those two really don't get on. Yeah. That Magnus would end up joining him in the end. I think. Yeah. And I think it always comes back to the fact that Horus is just such a badass when it comes to knowing the Primarchs. He just knows each one of them and their weaknesses. And exactly, because he's the one who can knows their weaknesses, but two knows their strengths and can marry them together. Yeah. And that's why it works in the kind of latter days of the Great Crusade. Yeah. But then as soon as the rebellion starts, it's like, cool, I know exactly which buttons to press and who to get onto my side and what's going to work and what's not. And he knows which ones are loyal. So he's like, I'm not even going to target the Imperial Fists, obviously, because they're the best. But two, he just goes, Guilliman, definitely not going to rebel. Dawn, definitely not going to rebel. Absolutely not going to rebel. Lion...
When you say best for Imperial Fists, do you mean lack of imagination?
No, I mean just the one guys that you can always trust.
Yeah, the lack of imagination. Yeah, that's yeah.
Let's not get it. Let's leave the Fulgrim talk again, mate. All right, let's leave that for another podcast. So yeah, I think that's where that kind of comes from, and I think the fact that you then have these two coming together and clashing, kind of really makes the whole thing really tragic, because obviously it's the fact again it's the two brothers. But this is what I mean about kind of seeing it from the Space Wolves point of view rather than the Thousand Suns. Because Magnus knows that he's done wrong. He knows that after he has the conversation with the Emperor, once he's smashed the webway to bits, and he goes, Magnus, and then it's like, oh no, I've done something really, really bad that I can't really change and go back and fix. And that's why he ends up kind of essentially sulking in the top of his tower going, what have I done?
But the Emperor, I see, this is my argument, is I would put all this down to the Emperor. So you've got...
Why though? This is what I mean.
So I Sorry, just a noise went off on my computer. Adam forgot his laptop, which is reliable, and we just heard a noise. Like, you probably didn't, so both of us paused shot.
Yeah,
that's what that was. That's how professional we are. Although, I to be fair, going back to the beginning,
just to let you know, Dan's computer is now virus free.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, well, it is, but like I have not got any antivirus stuff on there because it ran out, and I was like, I'm not paying for it anymore. So it's lasted 3 years without getting any viruses. So
well. Okay.
There you go. We had to restart this podcast.
Because you're only on Games Workshop, mate. We know it's a trusted source.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I use my browser for. Exactly. Yeah, it's Games Workshop.
Is the new Battleforge out yet?
Yeah,
yes!
That's it. Constantly just refreshing.
That's it. Has the Bane Blade dropped in price?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah. We had to go back and start again because Adam wanted me to start, and I did it in an unprofessional manner.
Yeah, you did.
So Adam had to start it again. I'm not getting any professional.
That's fine.
More professional as we go on.
But yeah, you were said about the Emperor.
Oh, I forgot what I was saying. No. So I think I think a lot of blame lies with the Emperor. So you've got Magnus, who some say is most like the Emperor. That's been said.
They always
in many
say
ways.
that.
Maybe that's fair. But he's certainly got the use of the warp in the way the Emperor's got the use of the warp. And he's got these great warp abilities, and he's one who kind of is interested in gaining knowledge and understanding the secrets of the universe.
Well, isn't it because he's one step below in terms of as being a powerful psychic as the Emperor?
Yeah.
But also, wasn't it about this idea that he wasn't really created in the same way that the others were, and it was like he's always had a psychic presence, and so he's kind of almost eons old. But he's just now been a physical form.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't read that.
Yeah, I was thinking I may be wrong on that, but I think I read it on one of the fandom pages, which of course anybody can write on.
Yeah,
But I'm pretty sure it's this idea of like, well, they've always known each other, but now he's like in a physical form, and now obviously he has his own legion, and it's all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that might be mentioned in one of the books or the short stories. I don't know, because there's a couple that are coming up, which I think is the Crimson King. That's another one that just focuses on Magnus. And his kind of next part of his journey, because obviously at the end of the Burning Prospero, he makes the pact with Zeech and goes, boom, see you later, and we're all on this planet of sorcerers in the warp or whatever. But why then is it for the Emperor? This is what I mean.
Well, this is the thing. So with the Emperor, so he could have. So he could have stopped this from happening. So the reason why.
Yeah, but he could have stopped all the things from happening.
But he could have stopped it from happening by treating his Primarchs as the children they want to be. That's the point, and that's the point. Is that I think the Primarch has built them as weapons, but he's made them as sons, and they've got this annoying quality where they want to be sons and they want to have a father.
Well, because they as much as they are hyperhumans, they're not, because they're still humans. They still need love and affection and understanding and want to belong to something, which is why I think. But it's. I'll come back to that. But it's the. I think I mentioned this to you a little while ago, but I think it might be in the new Dark Imperium book. After Guilliman has been to see him and he's done all that kind of stuff, and he kind of goes, actually, we were the ones that called him son. He never called. We called him father. He never called us sons.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole point.
But again, it's this idea of going, well, if you see somebody in a certain way, so they go, well, I see him as my father.
Yeah.
They're going to attach certain expectations and understandings on him.
Yeah, and so I think that's the Emperor's failing. I think that's the point. I'm not saying he should treat them like sons. I'm not saying they are sons. Yeah. But I'm saying that his failing.
They are, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because they were conceived in test tubes essentially. So at the best he's stepfather, surely.
Well, depends on the process.
Yeah,
don't know how he made them.
I mean, because Games Workshop are always like very grey about those details.
All you need to know is that they were put into test tubes.
Yeah,
that's
somehow. Yeah, that's it. And so it's the Emperor's failing for not treating them like sons, because that's kind of why if you brought them closer into him, I think they would be less likely to rebel. But again,
this goes back to the question that you said about whether or not they are sons or just weapons.
Well, that's the point.
Because if you are a weapon, and this kind of ties into the whole Thunder Warriors side of it, which is, well, you need these guys at the beginning in the Unification Wars. You need them to basically control Earth.
Yeah.
And you need that in order to go on to the next step, which is to then have a base where you can take over Luna and then Mars, and you can do the entire solar system, and then the next step obviously is to branch out into the galaxy.
Yeah. So just to go back and fill you in, the Emperor first of all took over Earth, and he used some warriors called the Thunder Warriors, which were like kind of Astartes, but they were like kind of pre-Astartes,
kind of like really aggressive bouncers.
Yeah, and there's one of the Horus Heresy books, which I think you got halfway through and stopped. It's the one where they escape from oh goodness, I can't remember which one it is, where they escape from a prison underneath the.
Oh no, I didn't read that one.
So
no, I skipped it.
I can't remember what it was called.
No, I know what you mean though.
It's about an astropath.
Yeah.
And so they
escapes to the underworld of Earth.
And then a bunch of Astartes which are imprisoned down there escape. And but interestingly, that's really cool for quite a few reasons. And at the end, they meet a Thunder Warrior, and essentially all the Thunder Warriors were these pre-Astartes, which they thought they were going to live forever, and they thought they were unbeatable, and they were kind of the Emperor's kind of creation and loved creation, stuff like that. But the Emperor only needed them to conquer Earth, and when he'd finished conquering Earth, they were basically all died out, and the Emperor made sure they all died out. Some of them survived.
Well, isn't it the last battle on Earth? Yeah. Like, just thousands of them die because he makes sure that they put in positions where they're gonna die.
And that's it. So the point is that they are kind of, however they die, I can't remember, I haven't read that, but they do, and a few of them survive. And so there's these Astartes which come face to face with the Thunder Warrior, saying like, when we were on Earth with the Emperor, we thought we were like the Emperor's favourite things, and we were going to go out into the galaxy with the Emperor, but he just needed us to conquer Earth.
That's it.
So he's like going, what do you think the Emperor's going to do when
there's no more worlds to conquer?
When there's no more worlds to conquer. And that's really interesting, and I think that says a lot about the Emperor, that the Emperor, my point being, the Emperor sees the Primarchs, I think, as just weapons, which is reasonable because that's what he's created them for. But the problem is, and the reason why there's so many issues, is because then he wants them just to be weapons, but they're not just weapons; they're also petulant kids.
I mean, well, when you grow from like a baby essentially in a capsule that lands on a planet, to a fully full grown adult in 3 years, that's not a lot of space to do some maturing.
No, that's right. Yeah, but that's because the Emperor doesn't really care. And it's interesting that I was listening to the audiobooks, and in one of them, I think it's Gulliman might have been talking about how he doesn't believe it was a mistake that the Primarchs got sent out into
the specific places they go to.
He thinks the Emperor planned that so they would grow up on these worlds and so on, which is interesting.
That's quite a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's what's Gulliman. Who said that? So the Emperor's got this plan anyway.
The one who ends up on like the best planet of them all.
Yeah, that's it.
It worked out quite well for me, but I think it's the same for all of them, right? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, so the Emperor kind of, however, kind of has these Astartes, these legions of Astartes, and these Primarchs, and uses them to conquer the galaxy. Fine, that's working great. But then he doesn't tell them.
In the heady days of the Great Crusade.
With all those genocides. Woo! And
exactly.
And
we don't really want to be a part of the Imperium. Hello, Space Marines. What do you mean we're a part of it? Well, you're got to be a part of it, mate. I'm really sorry about this, but if you don't, then we're just going to kill everybody.
There is
but we're like a peaceful society. We don't have any weapons. Like I said, you kind of need to. Should have started developing earlier, mate, shouldn't you?
But so the Emperor so when it comes to the Treaty of Nicaea, so the Emperor's got some understanding. I think he's goaded a little bit by some of the other Primarchs, because the other Primarchs don't like Magnus.
It's probably all Erebus is doing.
Well, who knows? and so then you get the Treaty of Nicaea, and the Emperor doesn't really explain it. If he'd taken Magnus aside and said, "Look, Magnus, this is what's happening in the warp. This is what psychic
this is the
powers
potential
doing.
Of it,
Like, this is why I'm telling you we need to stop doing this." Then I think probably Magnus would have been, maybe he still would have got against his father, but then at least you could blame it on him. But it was definitely, but for that, it starts to be the Emperor's fault. And then when it comes to him, Magnus kind of finding out that Horus has turned traitor, loves his father so much that he wants to tell his father. But if the Emperor had gone to Magnus and the other Primarchs had said, "Look, I'm leaving the Great Crusade because I'm working on this webway project.
Yeah, but again, this is the thing, because if you just see them as weapons, they're not going to be around anymore.
Of course,
so it doesn't matter.
Of course, he doesn't care. But that's the Emperor's failing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't blame him because he sees them as weapons, and that's how he does it. But I think, therefore, Magnus turning up, like using the warp.
Yeah, but then you can't have that attitude if you're this amazing being who's created these insane humans.
But I'm saying, so the webway stuff gets blown to pieces by Magnus turning up through the wall, right? But that's the Emperor's fault. The Emperor should have told Magnus, don't call me. The line busy.
Send an email.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No, but again, I don't think he had to do it. And I know we've had this conversation before, but I don't think he has to go through the webway. He could have sent a telepathic astronomical message. He could have done anything. There was loads of different ways.
I think that was a problem.
I don't think that was a problem.
But anyway,
that may be.
Either way, for whatever reason, he wants to appear in person.
No, he did, because it's the fastest way. That's what he's saying. Because I want to go through the wall, but I know that telepathically he's not available because he's really deep down in Terra, and obviously all of the wards and the different kind of psychic barriers, I guess is the best way to put it, are up. So I'm going to have to do it this way. Yeah. But it's just that's his failing and just going, I'm being really short-sighted.
So then kind of the kind of Magnus walks in and breaks this thing, and then the Emperor's suddenly really angry about it, and it's kind of like
because he's been working for months, mate.
But it's
years.
He should have. It's like if you kind of don't tell your kid that the vase is really brittle and expensive, and the kid goes and smashes it. Kind of a little bit your fault, right?
That's 8th century Ming Dynasty, lad.
Exactly.
He's just broken it.
Yeah, and so I don't think the Emperor took us, and it's because he sees them as weapons, and he didn't think.
You think it is? Do you generally think he sees them as weapons?
I think that's the Emperor's blind spot.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. And I think that's his undoing. Is he doesn't treat them as children. He can't be bothered, or he doesn't think he needs to, or he thinks he can control them without doing that. When actually he does need to be a dad to them, because that's how it's turned out.
Yeah. Well, I think as well though I think it's the double whammy, because as soon as he says he's going, that's when you start to see the Council of Terror, which becomes like the High Lords and that whole kind of side of it, start to impose their will on the Primarchs.
Yeah.
And if you as a unbelievable demigod of a being, basically have been in a situation for probably at that point about 200 years, I think, is it? By the time they all get together in terms of the Great Crusade, it's about 200 years of everyone together and unifying what's left of the galaxy. And I think they've just gone, well, I'm the lord of this fleet. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell me any different. The only person who can is the Emperor. And now he's gone.
You see those tensions between Malgador the Sigillite, who's the regent, and Dawn back on Terra, because it's kind of like, well, technically Malgador's in charge, but well, that's Dawn, and so it's
the best of all the Primarchs. You can't say anything to him.
Well, that's it. But the point is Dawn's going to hold his own and not go crazy. And he can be relied on.
When has he ever gone crazy?
Well, exactly. So he can be relied to kind of have a good relationship with Malgador.
You know why? Because he's steady.
Yeah, that's good old steady.
He's good old steady.
No
loyal, dutiful, honour.
No imagination. And I do like Dawn. I really do like Dawn, but still. So that's. But you imagine the other Primarchs. They're not particularly interested in listening to the Sigillite. Least of all Lorgar.
Oh, don't get me started on him, mate. This guy. Oh, I mean, for those who kind of listened to the first Horus Heresy thing that me and Dan have done, we're obviously working our way through it bookwise, and I've just finished Betrayer, which I smashed through actually really quickly. Yeah. And that was a good book. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it, and I think kind of coming out on the other side, talking about the Emperor, the way that he takes Angron basically away from this was blatantly a Spartacus-styled rebellion on his planet, on his homeworld, and doesn't help out. That's the weird thing. He doesn't send down or his legion, become the World Eaters, but I think are the Warhounds or something beforehand.
Yeah. Dusk Raiders, is it?
I think that might be another one.
Oh no, that's what's his name, isn't it? We become it's
the Death Guard.
Death Guard, yeah.
He doesn't send them down. He doesn't send the Custodes. Doesn't come down himself and fight. And that, as far as I'm aware, that's never explained.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the whole thing with Lorgar and Angron's really interesting because it's kind of... But then again, it's another one about Lorgar, the way he punishes Lorgar by burning his favourite city to the ground.
Well, I think there's two things there. So first of all, just going back, we'll come to Lorgar in a second, but I think, again, there's another example there of the Emperor not dealing with his Primarchs very well through Angron. So Angron is kind of... So, like, rather than the Emperor going, maybe Angron growing up here and, like, kind of loving these people, perhaps it'd be really good for Angron to, like, kind of win this battle and take this planet.
Yeah.
But instead, the Emperor goes, I only need my weapon. I only need the Primarch.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to see if I'm playing devil's advocate here. And obviously he just goes, who cares about these meaningless humans?
Exactly. But that's what the
Even though he's the Emperor of mankind.
Absolutely, of course. And if Angron's just a weapon, then that's fine. But it screws him up. It screws Angron up.
But he becomes even more personified because of the home world he's been on. He is a weapon in that society as a gladiator.
Yeah. So he's a mess anyway.
He's an enormous mess with the butcher's nails.
But the Emperor doesn't... I mean, they try and get the butcher's nails out and they can't. But the Emperor doesn't try and engage him or try and work with him. He just steals him away. To the point where everyone on that planet thinks that Angron fled. Yeah,
they think he was a coward and he ran away, isn't he?
When it wasn't. It was the Emperor just took him.
He
was like, "Well, I need my weapon, thanks."
Talking about betrayal, though, flipping heck, mate, that is a brutal ending. That is a brutal ending where he just turns up in the throne room with both the legions, and then just turns to Ugaltal and Khan and just goes, "Kill them all." But once again, I've listened to an audiobook, so you're not going to read that into his voice.
No, that's it. No, that's
but it's really good. That is a really good book, actually. Because at first I was like, everyone hates Angron for obvious reasons. Because he's almost like a wild, uncontrolled beast. Yeah, that's the best way.
And just for the record, like I'm a Emperor's Children player, Slanesh player. So
are you? Because you've never mentioned that before, Dan.
Well, she's brought it up. But after reading that, I've had a huge amount of sympathy for Angron.
And I think as well, it's with the butcher's nails, so it's the twofold, because on the one hand you feel sorry for him because of what he's been through, but then you feel sorry for Khan, who becomes Khan the Betrayer, and the rest of the World Eaters, because they at the beginning want to bond with their Primarch, even though they don't really understand what he's going through, so they get the butcher's nails on as well. And then just throughout because obviously throughout the novel you kind of go, I really think there's a tactical opportunity here. Nope, loss of the butcher's nails, kill, and that's all they do.
And it tells you why they don't have any psychics in their legion as well.
Oh my God.
Because the butcher's nails really mess psychers up. Like, they really can't control it.
No, but then on top of that, having psychers around affects the people with the butcher's nails, because at the end of it, when Angron becomes the greater demon of Khorne or whatever it is, that whole thing is him going, I'm really, really annoyed about the fact that all the psychics that are left in my legion are now hurting me badly. And then also trying to wrestle my soul back, which is a really weird scene.
But again, so that for the start of Angron's story, I think for Angron, sadly, because of the butcher's nails, that even the Mechanicum couldn't get out. I think.
Oh yeah, because they're really a cure-all.
Well, I mean, they're pretty good with tech.
Yeah, but when you compare them to the Tau, not at all. Flipping heck.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know, but the point is that I think Angron was gone by the time when the butcher's nails were put in. Angron was done. But
doesn't it say? Because as soon as he comes out of the capsule, 3 men turn up to try and take him, and he kills them straight away. So the first thing he ever does is kill people.
So Angron didn't have a good start to life. let's put it that way. But the point is that the Emperor again didn't treat him like a child, like a son. Treated him like a weapon. Going, I found my weapon. Yeah, great.
Well, actually, that ties in, I think, nicely with what happens with Lionel Johnson. Not me. I didn't have that kind of upbringing. That would be really bad. Lincolnshire's lawless, but it's not that lawless.
I was going to say, cool, go on.
But because obviously he gets found by Luther. Doesn't he? And then he gets raised in the Knight's Castle of the Rock or whatever it is. Becomes the fortress master. Where's that? Oh, I don't know, mate. Why? Because it's been blown up. So. There's a moment in one of those books, I think it might be the second one, where he talks about how he could have just killed him, because he just comes out of the wilderness as a boy, and then Luther takes him on and becomes his father figure. and then feels super betrayed by him later on in life, as you would, because you've poured energy and emotions and love and affection into this kid, who then basically just turns around and goes, I don't really care about you. Yeah. And I'm going to exile you back to Caliban.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that's echoing... So
and that almost, in a way, echoes what happens with the Emperor.
Oh, that's it. Oh, you say you can see the Emperor through all the Primarchs, and maybe the Emperor's stupidity when it comes to handling people who love him is seen through the Lion.
Absolutely.
Who handles Luther with... And that's Luther's blind spot.
Yeah, and
stupid.
But I hate the Primarch. Yeah. I'm just going to put that. I'm sure I'm going to, anger quite a few people who are Dark Angels players out there. But
Dark Angels are cool. We all like Dark Angels. But
what's going on in that circle? What are you doing over there? Just a few of you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Who are the fallen? What? Ah!
There's no chaos here. Yeah. So, but we were talking. So, the other thing we were going to talk about was Lorgar and being slapped down by Malcador.
Yeah. Oh, massively so. Yeah. And then, but obviously, when it happens, is it? On the Perfect City. And that's where he obviously gets a real hatred for the Ultramarines. Even though he says throughout every single book, he's like, I don't hate the Ultramarines. Yeah. And he's like, no, you do. Yeah. I mean, look what you've just done at Calth, mate.
At least everyone else admits it.
Heck. Yeah, just admit that you don't like him.
I think Fulgrim admits that, he always just wants to kill the Iron Hands. Just because Perturabo is like, I just want to kill the Imperial Fist just because... but when it comes
they're better than him, and he knows it.
But when it comes to Lorgar, I don't care about that argument. Maybe we'll discuss it one day. But when it comes to, it's nothing argument to me. I don't care about either Legion. But when it comes to Lorgar, he's just like, nope, this is purely about my plan. It's not because I absolutely despise and hate Guilliman for destroying the Perfect City. Yeah. Which, to be fair, like whether you're a loyalist or not, destroying the Perfect City, this little utopia. Yeah. I mean, come on.
But it's not Guilliman's fault. He's been ordered to do it
by
the Emperor.
By the Emperor, again. So, it's like kind of...
I'm still going to remain loyal after this conversation, Daniel. I know what your plan is to try and converse me to the side of the heretics.
Fine. I'm not saying... I'm just saying, because you can argue that the Imperium is great for humankind and stuff like that. And,
we both know that's not true.
Whatever. And think that the Emperor was a bad leader. Oh, but he was a great leader in many ways.
No, he's a great leader and a great visionary.
But his blind spot with the Primarch.
He's a classic ENTJ, mate. He's all about the big picture. Can't deal with the little things.
Are you an ENTJ?
I'm an ENTJ.
Did you just?
But I'm an exception to the rule because I care about people.
Is it? Yeah. Did you just subtly compare yourself to the Emperor?
No, I'm Horus because we did this in the. If you look at the Primarchs, if anybody out there knows what the Myers-Briggs test is,
we might do a podcast on Myers-Briggs.
He's the ENTJ because he's the one who, one, can carry out the vision, but two, can unify people behind that one thing, which is what happens because he takes half of the Primarchs and their legions with him.
That's fair,
and that's because of his force of nature. And after the Battle of Terror, you see it all fall apart because they don't have the cohesion which he brings, and that's why he's an ENTJ because he's the one who can bring it all together.
Yeah, I haven't got to the Battle of Terror yet. Don't tell me what happened.
What's the Battle of Terror?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I didn't think Horus would get that far.
I thought they were still on his fan.
Yeah, that's it. Malice above the palace.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think him not telling Lorgar as well about the warp, because the whole thing in First Heretic is him then deciding to go on this massive pilgrimage. Yeah, but he's totally scorned by the whole burning of his Perfect City thing. Yeah, where he just goes, I don't know who I am anymore. Yeah, because I've basically been worshipping you as a god. But it's also his book, the Book of Lorgar, which they take as a base plate for the what's the state religion of the Imperium called again? Ecclesiarchy. That's it. They take that as his base plate, and then they're like, no, we can't have that anymore because he's a heretics guy. Yeah. However, we can still worship the Emperor as a god.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, isn't it? And but it's like, can you remember? Okay, listeners, if you're into 40k, which surely you are if you're listening to this podcast, imagine like if you collected Warhammer from when you were young. Imagine like if like your parent or a father figure, like imagine you did something wrong or were a bit confused about something, and then as punishment, your father figure destroyed all of your Warhammer that you'd spent like hours poring over.
Well, that's fine if they're Chaos Space Marines. That's totally acceptable.
Imagine how much you'd hate your kind of father for that. There's no wonder. So there you go. That's an analogy.
Is this why you don't get on with your dad? Dan?
Yeah. This is why I kind of emancipated myself as a 14-year-old. No, it's not. No, I love my parents to bits.
Right. Well, the super injunction's only just come off that, hasn't it? So you can now talk about it.
I made my mum a cake, remember?
Yeah, let's not talk about the brain cake again. I think people are still traumatised from the first one.
Yeah, I remember we haven't put these.
We'll put that up, don't you?
We can put it up on the podcast on YouTube, can't we?
Yeah, we can.
Out. I thought about that on the car the other day.
And the Magnus of the Red.
And the Magnus.
Little conversion.
Magnus the Red conversion. Yeah. Maybe I'll. Yeah, I was going to say give it away as a prize, but no, I'll try and when we're really popular, I'll sell it for like $2,000 or something.
Yeah. Going for £2, going once, going twice.
No, I'll sell it for $2,000 and then go on holiday.
Well, I'll spend $1,000 of that on the chess set that you want to do.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Yeah.
And the rest we can spend it on the road trip to Scotland.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to be that popular, but we're going to Scotland in a few weeks.
A few weeks? It's in August.
Yeah.
A few months.
Well, you know.
It's only March.
Well, a few weeks relative to
it's March
how many weeks I've been alive for.
Right, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think Lorgar especially obviously loves the Emperor to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think all of them do.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Except for obviously Angron, which we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point. So
but even more Tyrion, actually, saying that. Yeah. I don't think he loves him.
No, maybe not. I don't know. But the point is that most of them, if not all of them, do have a love for their father.
Yeah. Horus most of all.
Yeah, exactly, because of all the time.
But he spends like 40 years with him.
But the Emperor doesn't. But that's the point. Is the Emperor doesn't take that on board and deal with it. Okay, it's annoying that you've got to kind of, treat these weapons like children because they're sentient. But that's what you've got to do, and that's I think why it goes wrong. I think that's probably arguably the number one cause of the heresy is
not chaos, not Erebus, not any of the other stuff in it.
I think if the Emperor had shared more with his Primarchs, he could have guarded them from these dangers.
Yeah, I think there's an element of that, but I think chaos would have still found a way.
I mean, it would have to, otherwise there'd be no story.
Well, there's that true, yeah. But I think also that they would find a way to know, okay, now we know that there's a Webway project, which he's going to then exclude all of warp travel.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as soon as you get the Webway thing, boom, you're into the next planet on the other side. Like, you can go from Terra to Macragge in a second.
Exactly, and interestingly, maybe he didn't tell them about this because he was planning on them all being dead.
Exactly. I generally believe that the Adeptus Custodes are there to kill them all off at the end.
So the plan probably for the Emperor would be, well, we'll conquer the galaxy with these Astartes and the Primarchs, and then I'll set up these Webway portals, and that's how we'll get around the galaxy.
Well, exactly. You won't need it anymore because we'll have established all these Imperial planets.
And so maybe that's why the Emperor doesn't bother telling them what he's doing, because he's just like, well, you're going to be dead soon. So,
but the problem is, I think as well, within the whole stories, you don't really hear that much from him. Really?
Yeah, which I really like, actually.
It's cool. Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. It is really cool, and I like the fact that you don't really hear that much about him. But I think there's an element of, I would like to hear something more than just what you get. And I think I'm sure there are people in the comments going, read Emperor of Mankind, because it'll tell you all about that, and we probably will find more about that.
Yeah.
And what was going on, but I don't know how much that's actually going to have with the Emperor speaking, because it could be from the Adeptus Custodes, and
could be.
Well, obviously not the Sisters of Silence perspective.
No,
them just going, she nodded.
Yeah, that would be a poor audiobook. This has been voiced by the Sisters of Silence.
Or it could be from her thoughts. It could be from her thoughts, I suppose.
Yeah, or she's not psychic though. Oh, but I mean, she couldn't project her thoughts.
No, but as in, you could listen internally, so it could be her just talking to herself, but that's the way
very
you would narrate it.
Very difficult to record audio through audio.
No, you're not getting what I'm saying. Never mind. But because obviously there's a couple of Custodes who were like significant guys throughout this period.
But the point is that okay, so you may hear more from the Emperor later on. But what I'm on, I can't remember what book I'm at. I'm currently.
You're on
what
book
number
27.
Is that right? And then I've read a bunch of the smaller ones as well. So I'm on.
I was right, by the way. They've just passed over the Empire. Book 50 in the series. Okay,
but then there's all the side books.
Yeah.
So Unremembered Empire is where I'm on at the moment. And in the books up to that point, you hear very little from the Emperor. John Grammaticus has a bit of a chess game with him.
Here we go. This guy again.
John Grammaticus. He's becoming more of an interesting character now. I think he always had the potential to be.
No, I think he is an interesting character. I think any of the Perpetuals are interesting characters. It's like Vulcan's a really interesting character because it's like you just can't ever kill him.
Yeah.
I'm about to find out because I'm just starting Vulcan Lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Grammaticus is interesting. Cyrene is another one. She's a perpetual.
Oh yeah, wait, which Cyrene?
Cyrene's the one who's Argyle Tal, who I'm not. First of all, I'm just going to put that out there. I mean, I'm not a heretic player.
His hand up.
Exactly. This is how angry I am about this. Yeah. Right. I'm not a heretic player. I don't support those guys.
Yeah.
However, Argyle Tal was a really cool character, and Erebus killed him.
Yeah.
Stabbed his knife through the back of his. So annoying, that character.
What?
Erebus. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wrong one.
Oh, and that's the mildest way we can say it without crossing borders and getting in trouble with YouTube.
This is the great thing, is because it's all kind of his doing. The whole
massively
thing comes down to Erebus, which I think is fascinating. So. I love that it's not even a Primarch, really. The Primarchs think it's their kind of.
Well, Horus thinks it's all him.
Yeah,
and it's not at all.
Yeah,
because it's obviously Erebus. But who's Erebus influenced? It's Lorgar, and Lorgar's the one who then sent him to hang out with the Lunar Wolves.
Yeah, but obviously Erebus can't fully be in control. That's the interesting balance of it all. So he's just to unleash Horus and then try and manipulate.
Well, he wouldn't be able to do it with Fulgrim, would he? Can you imagine him trying to go? Hey, have you thought about maybe going this way? No, look at what I can do to myself.
You can just compliment him until he listens.
Oh yeah.
I've just started on a side note. I've just started the book about Fulgrim taking a planet with him and 6 or 7.
Oh, have you started to read
Starties.
that?
I've only read it.
That's in the Primarchs series,
I've
isn't
read
it?
one chapter.
Really nice books though.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like the actual layout and the hardback editions are really nice. Really nice paintings as well. Yeah, so I think the whole kind of that sidebar with Argyle Tal, I was really annoyed about that because he was an interesting character who in the end actually hated what he became.
Yeah,
totally. Whether or not that would have meant he would have returned to the light if he could have, don't know. Probably not.
Too late now.
Well, yeah, too late now. Thanks, Erebus.
Yeah. Which brings us back to, well, it doesn't really, but I'm going to bring us back to Russ. Lemon Rush. And
I've not heard that one before. That's quite
Lemon
good.
Rush. I just came up with it. Lehman Russ.
The Primarch, not the battle tank.
Yeah, that's it. Was specifically talking about the Primarch. Who, I'm more. So when he's unleashed to destroy Prospero, when you hear more about that in the in Prospero Burns after Thousand Suns. So Thousand Suns, you go like Lehman Russ, the Space Wolves, awfully
amazing. Guys. Too good to be in one ridiculous. Simple bad light.
And then you read Prospero Burns, and you kind of go, I don't fully blame it on Russ. I blame it way more on the Emperor than Russ.
Oh, totally. But again, it's the element of him trying to be what he thinks he should be, which is this executioner.
Absolutely, which he loves.
But again, it's him. It's all of the Primarchs try to carve out a role for themselves, which would ultimately make them look really good in the Emperor's eyes.
Yeah,
because as much as Perturabo, Peter Turbo / Puerto Rico, PT hates doing sieges. He knows he's really good at it, so he knows that's going to be valuable. So he knows that if he keeps doing it, he's still valuable.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing a podcast with Adam.
I'm just going to let that one slide. Snugging into this. So anybody who knows Dan, who's listened to this, if you see a couple of black eyes on his face over the next couple of weeks, you'll understand why.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's the same with Lehman Russ, because all the other Primarchs just know him as this unbelievable savage who's one step removed from Angron.
Yeah,
and I think him just being aware of that, but at the same time knowing that that's not who he really is, he tries to carve out a way. And how does he carve out a way? By being the one that they send in to punish anybody else.
Yeah,
I mean, because there's talk. I don't know if it's true. Of course, nothing's true about the 2 missing Primarchs, but that he killed one of them.
Yeah,
that it was his legion, because there's a talk of him like saying that we don't need to unleash the wolves again, and that's what they're talking about, is basically the fact that he's there's lots of talk on the forums and rumours and stuff that he was the one that got sent in to basically sort this guy out. Whoever this Primarch was.
That'd be interesting. So it could have been, Russ might have been the first Primarch to kill another Primarch.
Well, that's it. That's what they're basically saying. But because it was justified in the eyes of the Emperor, it's fine. Because they all know him. That's the thing about the 2 missing Primarchs. They were found. That's the weird thing. But it was like, you just don't know anything about them for whatever reason.
I don't know whether we ever will. I don't know whether they'll ever reveal that or whether they'll come back. When Games Workshop are really
desperate,
scratching their heads for new ideas. Maybe
we've ripped off pretty much every kind of movie idea we can think of, every alien race that we can think of. What can do? Oh, there's 2 missing Primarchs, Dave. Yeah,
that's it. We could bring those. Because
I thought
they'll slowly release the Primarchs, and then eventually they'll release the Emperor, and then maybe they'll go, okay, we'll do the 2 missing Primarchs.
Yeah, because there's talk. Well, there's talk the next one's going to be Lehman Russ. On a little side note, in 40k. They're going to release.
Interesting, because we were talking about there's rumours that one of the Primarchs might come back as a Demon Primarch, and one of them.
I so want it to be Lehman Russ.
But like you look at it, and you're saying he's like one step removed from Angron, and I think that makes sense. I think he could be if any of them are going to fall. I think Russ would make sense. I think
it's not going to be Jagatai Khan because nobody really knows anything about him. No. I think it's not going to be Korax.
I think because nobody would care as well. The Khan's falling to chaos, and then we'll go, yeah,
who
cares? Whereas if it's Russ, that's a massive.
Unless
deal.
You're a White Scar player, then obviously you would.
Nobody's a White Scar player. And the thing is, I can say that without offending people because there's none of them.
There's none out there. Yeah.
I must kind of ever so minor apology to the Ultramarines players for me slagging them off in the last podcast because which is true. Like
Ultramarines live longer with Manius Calgar. That's a great line.
Was it Ultramarines who live longer with Calgar? Yeah. But there are too many of you out there. Have some imagination. And
I can understand why though, because they appeal. They appeal because they're the honourable ones. They're the strong ones. They are the best of the best apparently. And all that kind of stuff, and it just works. Not to mention, blue is really easy to paint.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think I've ever painted blue, but so I'm reading Unremembered Empire, and it's really. I think it's going to definitely be.
Is it up there?
It's really good. It's going to be. I think it might be my second favourite. It could be after Fulgrim.
Oh yeah,
obviously. Well, it's I'm a big. One of my favourite novels is also Dorian Gray. We've said this in the previous podcast, so that's why I like Fulgrim so much because it's basically.
It's
like I really wish I could read Dorian Gray without kind of knowing the kind of ending or kind of knowing what happens in it. But I've read it now, so I can't do that again. I can't ever read that for the first time again. Oh, read Fulgrim. It's like reading Dorian Gray for the first time again.
It's like reading Dorian Gray if you've got a psychotic warlord who decides to go a bit psycho and take his entire legion with him and then decides to do a lot of scientific experiments that go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, and also chop his brother's head off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because that's Dorian Gray.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are similarities. Got a freaking painting for one. I mean, goodness. Anyway, what was I saying? So it'd be cool if Lehman Russ, I think, could come back if they're going to do that. If they're going to have one of them fall, I think Lehman Russ.
I don't think it's like I said before. It's going to be 2 for 2. So you've got Mortarion and you've got Magnus, who are on the heretic side that are already out in 40k. Yeah. And you've only got Gilliman on the loyal side, so they're gonna match another one.
Maybe. I'm not sure whether they will, because the storylines. It's a lot more difficult to write loyalist Primarchs into the storyline. I think.
I don't think it is.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't.
Because you've got the warp, and they just go, what have you been doing? I've been
no, that's true. You can bring them back, but I think them sharing power and doing that with Gilliman's probably more.
Oh, you wouldn't. But they wouldn't, though, would they? No. They'd just go, well, clearly you're the one who needs to be in charge. Yeah. I'll do that. What do you need me to do?
Yeah, because all the Primarchs are that humble.
Sure.
But the point
Dawn
is...
would be.
Yeah, but Lehman... Yeah. But the point is Lehman Russ.
So you're just going to go, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Oh, no, I was halfway through apologise to Ultramarines players, actually. You kind of put me off of that. I was reading... I'm not full apology, by the way, but because I think you should have more imagination and collect different chapters. And legions and whatnot.
Oh, I'm sorry, we can't all be perfect. And
I'm not saying you should collect Emperor's
China
children.
dolls.
No, you should. But but I'm just.
I just felt like I had to stick up for the loyalists.
But anyway, I'm reading Remembered Empire, and the Ultramarines are quite cool, actually. I'm quite.
They just are cool. Yeah, they're the ones who hold the empire together.
And I find Rome really interesting as well, and it is basically Rome. And that's quite good. But still, come on, guys. Collect more than just the Ultramarines. Too many Ultramarines players. It's too many Ultramarines players.
They're just cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not as cool as the Imperial Fist, obviously. But, they're all right.
Yeah. Anyway,
at least they're not White Scars.
Yeah. And no complaints. Where are the complaints? Oh, nobody plays them. Nobody plays them.
My younger brother does. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but younger brother. But when he grows up and comes of age, you'll go, why am I playing with these?
I'll go, oh man, I'm going to get those yellow guys look amazing.
Yeah.
I want to be a Black Templar.
Yeah. So Leman Russ can come back. I think that's probably slightly off topic.
But taking it back. So I think just the Primarch kind of issue with him being the one that kills and one of the missing Primarchs, and that's the thing. Partly, I think the reason why we've taken him out of the game is because, and the story as well, is just it's cool because it adds more mystery. Who are these Primarchs? Why did they get taken away? We don't know, but they've been completely expunged.
The two missing ones.
The two missing ones. And obviously, if you kind of put in this idea that Leman Russ killed one of them, and maybe the other one disappeared, who knows? We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, my theory is if you wanted to create another human race in the actual game, because there's like a third of the galaxy that's still not
faction.
Yeah, it's like a new faction that's, because I think that could be really interesting, where it's human, but it's obviously not part of the Imperium.
Yeah, and their tech is really far removed from.
Yeah, and it could be like you have a lot of artificial intelligence, which obviously the Mechanicum and everybody hates. Yeah, and that could be really cool, because then what you could have is this Primarch who people now treat as myth and legend. But he has like a few of his Astartes that are left, and they become demigods in their own right. And lead these people who become who want to expand out and do their own thing. So I think you could do that. I don't know whether or not that would actually play into it, of course, and work. But I think that would be a really niche, kind of different side of it. Because I think a third human faction in the game would be really cool. Because obviously you've got the Adeptus Astartes and the Astra Militarum. Space Marines.
And that's because they could have had a civil, another split within the Imperium and had a civil war.
Yeah.
Which would have been cool. And it would have, like when you go to GW and it's just like, oh, I've got Blood Angels, oh, I've got Ultramarines. Well, let's have a game. And you kind of go, well, why would these be fighting guys for training missions and something like that? Like, it'd be really good if you could have it where there's been a split again.
Because we've talked about this before, haven't we? Where you either have Dawn come back or Lionel Johnson, and one of them actually says, "Well, no, I don't agree with whatever's going on here." Yeah, because obviously Gilliman is obviously appalled at the way that the Imperium is now. Yeah, rightly so, because but
they do hand in power though. That's the thing. So it could have been that Gilliman comes back and then they're like, "Well, we don't care if you're a Primarch. We're not bound to you," and then Gilliman has to take his 500 worlds or however many he's got at the moment, and
probably about 50.
Yeah, and like fights back to take the Imperium.
But then the other side is, it could be. But what I'm saying is he could go, right, well, I've got the state it is in now. It's not perfect, but we're going to try the best that we can and make it better. Yeah. And then Lionel Johnson comes back and just goes, actually, no, this is totally against everything that we thought, and I'm in a really good opportunity now, because the basically the Dark Angels are massive if you count them as a chapter and all of their successors, and all the ones that followed on. Easily they could just go, cool, we're just going to create a legion again because he's our Primarch, and we're going to follow him more than anybody else. And he just goes, cool, I'm just going to liquidate everything that I don't agree with within the Imperium. I'm going to shape out my own.
But it's true,
that's where he could get the Civil
War. He
would
struggle to do that, and I think he'd struggle to want to do that because of the massive rift. But that's bringing us on to 40k.
That's true. We'll talk about them.
Yeah, but it would be good, like going back to the grudge between Thousand Suns and Space Wolves. It'd be really cool to see Leman Russ. I mean, just back anyway, but as a Demon Primarch, and then you can have kind of stories of him really going at, like you see him fighting, like you read about Leman Russ and Magnus, fighting and stuff like that. Would be really
well, because if he becomes a Demon Primarch for Khorne or something,
which I think would make most sense.
It would make the most sense. Because then obviously you've got the two factions which you're going to go, cool, well, these two different sets of gods are going to go at it, and they've got another Demon Primarch. Yeah. And then Angron just comes in and kills everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's... but then I suppose you'd have Angron. So then maybe that's why they won't do it, because they've already got Angron.
Well, because that's the thing, isn't it? Each Chaos God's got their own Primarch.
Yeah, and then Angron and Russ are both as Demon Primarchs of Khorne would basically just be the same character, just with different coloured hair. That'd be it.
Pretty much,
it'd be like
one's got fangs.
Like Street Fighter when you both like pick the same character.
That's it. First game ever where you could actually kill your own player. Yeah, you kill the guy in your own team. Yeah. I don't know what that's got to do with Bernard Prospero. So I think having having him come back would be really interesting. But I think it's just, I think he's going to come back as a normal guy, and on the loyalist side, I think mainly because there are too many Space Wolf players. But yeah, we'll see. I think to kind of wrap it up, I think we'll probably just kind of say, do you think it was? Well, whose side do you think it was more justified for? Yeah, was it Magnus's or?
Yeah, go and read the books. Hopefully, you have already, because we've put loads of spoilers in this. If you haven't read it, we've ruined it.
We probably should put a disclaimer at the beginning of each one, because we just talk about so much.
Yeah, I think that's right. But talk about it in the comments. So, do you think the Emperor is justified in the way he acted? Do you think Magnus was justified? I think I would argue. Do you think Leman Russ was? I think arguably under the circumstances, if he was, because he was just being the Emperor's pawn.
Well, this is what I think, and I think that he was justified in what he did more so than Magnus, because in the book Prospero Burns, he gives Magnus the chance. Yeah, and he says, if you come out just by yourself, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Leman Russ is like the one who acts the most fairly. Yeah, I think the mistakes lie with the Emperor. I think firstly, and then the failings of Magnus as well.
I never thought you'd actually say that. That's quite.
No, I think he does. He has it well because he was massively manipulated by the war. I mean, you can't ignore that. No. And so that was his failing. His hubris was his failing. But I think the first failing was the Emperor. The Emperor's failing.
Yeah, I think you can always take it back to the Emperor though, because he doesn't say much either, and he's also just a frail OAP essentially on a golden throne.
Yeah, that's it. Well, he's now.
Well, he's definitely is now.
Yeah. Corpse Emperor.
Yeah, so I think that for me, it's the fact that Russ gives him the chance, and he doesn't take it for whatever reason. And anybody who's read that book will know the kind of guy it follows is a sleeper agent essentially for the Thousand Sons. But he knows that in the end he can't be trusted, so he just basically goes into some kind of cryostasis or something. This is what I was really disappointed with the book about, because I thought there's such an amazing idea of a story here, and it's just
I think it could have. It was interesting, but I think it could have been a lot better.
Yeah,
but Thousand Sons is a very good
Thousand Sons is an incredible book
for me. A very good book.
Oh yeah, definitely in the top 5, I'd say. And I think that's it, because if Magnus had done that, then there would have been no death of his legion. I think, and I think but then also I think it comes down to the fear of the censorship, because the last people who were censored were the 2 missing Primarchs who were killed essentially by the sounds of it. Yeah. So there's the fear that that's going to happen, and obviously you don't want that to happen because you want to live. So I think but I think the fact that Leman Russ gives him that chance and goes, "You sure you want to do this?" Yeah. Because once I pull once I pull the pin on this Space Wolf grenade, that's it. He ain't going back in until nothing is left of your planet. Yeah. And he doesn't take it. So I always kind of side with Leman Russ, and also because I think he's seen as, they're all pitiful in each way, I think, all the Primarchs, but I think Leman Russ for me is kind of goes, actually like you've got a lot to offer, and not everybody sees that. And not all of the Primarchs see that. But then also you're kind of really arrogant as well, and you're very brash and you're very blunt, and not everybody's going to kind of appeal to that.
I don't think I've quite forgiven the Space Wolves I don't think I ever will forgive the Space Wolves for Prospero, but even though I kind of see it from Leman's point of view.
It is incredibly brutal, actually. That's a very, very good point. It is really, really brutal the way they go in it. But that's the point, isn't it? That you go, this is going to be a message to the rest of the galaxy. You mess with the Imperium, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get completely and utterly annihilated.
Which is a shame. It's like a restaurant, and they you don't take orders. They just come over and give you the food because they already know what you want.
That was a great little bit. Actually,
it's great.
Well,
it's paradise planet.
Tisca just seems like a wonderful place to be.
It's like Riser, but better.
Palm trees everywhere.
That's it. Yeah.
There's obviously more than just palm trees there.
Equal just paradise? Just a palm tree equal paradise?
Well, it's usually tropical paradise. You usually have
I think it's someone who doesn't
palm trees and coconut trees and all kinds of stuff.
It makes me think that's too hot.
Well, you are ginger, so you probably spontaneously combust. It's interesting, as soon as you get off the plane.
Leman Russ has kind of obviously been ripped off on Vikings, and I'm almost certainly
here we go.
Last night, we're sitting in very snowy Leeds. It was,
which I'm really annoyed about.
Temperatures plummeted. Last night, still in my summer duvet.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you're a Viking.
Yeah, just saying. I can deal with the cold.
It's summer duvet in your house, which is warm.
No, it wasn't. It dropped because it was when I woke up this morning, the heating had been on for 2 hours and it's still only 15 degrees.
Only 15 degrees.
Well, no, but the point is it would have been a lot lower than that previous before the heating thing. Anyway,
on that note, and Dan's heritage, we'll leave it there. But please feel free to mention things in the comments and give your own perspectives on the burning of Prospero and the Emperor himself.
Yeah.
We would really welcome that. And I think partly what we want to do with these is to foster discussion and interest within the lore. Yeah. And also hopefully people gaming as well. But yeah, for me especially, I do love the game, but I love the lore more for myself. And it's really, I just find it massively interesting and fascinating as a world. So
and most of all, we want to foster advertising revenue.
There's also that. So
if you just get all your friends just to click play.
Yeah, and also if you want to maybe purchase the free trial from Audible, then that would be fantastic because Audible has such a massive range.
No, we're not giving us any money.
No, we're not giving that one. No.
Yeah, also Amazon don't get penny tax, so
they do now, I think.
No, they don't.
They probably don't actually.
Of course they don't. That's why the head of Amazon's like the richest person in the world, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
It's because he doesn't pay any tax.
Probably.
Like Apple.
And on that note, we will end it there. Before we lose any more of our corporate sponsors. We will end it there. Thank you so much for listening, guys. And we really, really appreciate your support and all your comments and things. It's really, really appreciated.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. See ya. Bye.